Hello and welcome to a new video. For today's video I'm going to be trying out these Pablo coloured pencils. So Sue in the comments mentioned these to me because she wanted to know if I'd tried them and she wanted to know my opinion on them. So that's what sparked my interest. So I decided to order this 18 set just to see what they were like. Now, I've heard that they're supposed to be a hard pencil. A couple of people have mentioned that. And they're supposed to be oil-based as well. Not that that really means anything to me. I don't know what the difference is between oil and wax. As far as I'm aware, most pencils have a mixture of both. So I'm just going to swatch them out first of all and then do a page from our colouring book. Okay, so I'm starting with this lemon yellow and it actually feels quite soft. It's a strange, it feels very silky, but it's going down like really fine, like a really fine coverage. It definitely doesn't feel hard, but then again, yellows often are very soft, so it could be just because it's a yellow. These feel so nice. These don't feel like any other pencil that I've tried at all. I do quite like harder pencil, but the problem with those is they don't work well with colouring books because the tooth on the colouring books isn't that great, which most of you will probably already know all this. But this is just so silky smooth. It really is. So I'm just going to press a little bit harder with the point. And you get a really good strong coverage. And I mean, I'm not having to press too hard. That's just going down really easily. So this one here is called Purple. It actually looks more pink to me. It's not a great pink colour, to be honest with you. It's more of a dull pink. It's not purple. Well, it's not what I would call purple. It's pink, but it's a very dull pink. So I'm just going to test them with a blender pencil just to see how they react with that. Oh yeah, they work really well with a blender pencil. That's smoothing that out nicely. The two greens, I don't think they're the greatest selection of greens, but it is only 18 set, and they seem a little bit scratchy. The green, but greens are quite often a harder pigment. Okay, so far I really like them. I think you can get a lot of colour off them when you're just barely touching the paper. And a lot of time, if you noticed, I was actually colouring fairly much on the side of the pencil, and you can see kind of how fine it lays down. It's like quite fine and smooth. Quite often if you're using the side of the pencil, the little white flecks are a lot larger, but the coverage is much better. So the pencils themselves are quite thin. They feel, well, first of all I thought, does it feel cheap? But it's just that it's lightweight really. But it's a good quality casing. So it's got the colour in 2 languages, it's got the code number, and it's got the light fast rating. And then on the front there's the logos, the Caran DAche and the Pablo logos. Okay, so now I'm going to actually do a colouring with them, and I'm going to use this Forest Girl colouring book, which is absolutely divine. I'm going to pick a picture and I'm going to copy the colours of the little picture on the left. Okay, so far I'm just building up some uneven layers because I'm trying to do this uneven background here. And I've just started off with the lemon yellow, and this lays down like no other pencil I've ever tried. It's just so smooth. I'm barely touching the paper. I'm only wanting a tiny little amount of pigment on the paper because I'm just building up the lighter bits, and I'm having to be really careful because just the slightest touch and the colours coming off the pencil, which is just excellent. That's exactly what I was looking for. They're exactly what I was hoping they would be. So far so good. So I'm going to have to try and make up a creamy colour because I don't have these colours in my set because I've only got a small set. So I'm going to have to take a gamble and just add some like tiny little light bits of other colours to try and take away the yellowness. Okay, so another thing I've noticed which is really good is it's actually better for me that it opens this way like this because I'm right-handed. It's handy that the lid's out of the way over that side to the right. Okay, so far I am absolutely adoring these pencils. They're just so silky and so satisfying to use. The way the colour comes off them onto the paper is just so satisfying, and it could be that this paper is just perfect for them. It's a very, very smooth paper. I didn't want to watch any reviews before I tried them, so I did this little bit of colouring and then I went and I'd already decided I loved them. So then I watched some reviews, and yeah, a lot of people are saying more or less the same as me. Everybody seems to be saying the same thing, that they feel like really silky and really smooth. Yeah, and a lot of people are saying that they find them soft as well. I find them soft. Some people are saying they find them hard. It's just difference in people, I suppose. Okay, so I've ordered the full set because I just adore them. I just really, really like them. So I've kind of messed up this background a little bit. It's not how I wanted it to be. I like how it is around most of the area, but then this bit here just looks like really dirty. I've messed it up, and I'm wishing now I'd maybe used the Neo colour 2 in the background and like painted the background. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on with the rest of the picture, and hopefully the background will just fade into the background and it won't be as noticeable. Okay, so now I'm doing the stalks on these sunflowers, and as you can see I'm using a really sharp point. So now it's really confusing because the pencils feel really soft, but they can't be soft because I wouldn't be able to colour with a point like this if it was a soft pencil. Like if this was a Prismacolor, it would just snap. I mean, even polychromos you've got to be quite careful with. So I think it probably is a hard pencil, but it just feels like a soft pencil. Maybe that's something to do with the fact that they're supposed to be oil based. I've never really known what the difference was between oil based and wax based pencils, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe if there's oil in them, the colour just kind of glides onto the paper easier. I'm not really sure, but I think that's where the confusion is. That a lot of people in the reviews that I've watched say that they feel soft. I think that they feel soft, but they can't be soft because they're very strong. So that's probably the magic of them. That's why they're so brilliant. So I'm still absolutely loving them. So I decided to treat myself to a larger set. Now they were really, really expensive on Amazon. They were £270 something for the full set of 120. And I couldn't find them anywhere any cheaper. They seem to be the same price everywhere. And then I found some on eBay for £200 for the 120 set. And then I was gonna go ahead and buy them, and then I realised when I read the description that it said 80 set in the description, and it says 120 set in the title of the eBay listing. So I think there's a little bit of trickery going on there. I've wrote to the seller and asked them, is it an 80 set or 120 set, and pointed out that it says 80 in the description and they just haven't answered me. So I think that it's a deliberate ploy to get people to pay £200 for an 80 set. So then I found somebody on Etsy selling the set for £200. So, and they've got some like good reviews, so check them out a little bit. So I'm hoping this is legit. They're coming from Slovenia, so I'm just waiting for them to be delivered. So the only reason I'm really talking about the price is just in case anybody wants to know that, if anybody else was interested in buying them. They're cheaper on Etsy. If anybody wants to know the name of the seller, just let me know in the comments and I'll look up the seller name for you. Okay, so because I've only got this small set, I'm trying to make a different kind of green. So I'm starting off with like this malachite green, just to add a little bit of shading underneath. And because it's too blue, I'm adding a little bit of burnt sienna over the top, just to dull that blueness down. And then I'm just going over the top of the whole thing with light olive. So I'm so glad I tried these pencils. So if you're watching, Sue, thank you so much for mentioning these to me, because I absolutely love them. I had heard of them before, but I just never really give them a thought, because I've always fancied the luminance ones, because everybody says they're brilliant, but I've never ever got around to purchasing them because they're just so, they've always been like a bit too expensive. And then I splashed out on the Holbeins. I guess I suppose I would just wanted them more than the luminance ones, and you get a lot more in the Holbeins as well. You get 150. And I never even considered the Pablos. I just thought the Pablos were the Caran DAche kind of lower student brand, and that their luminance was their best pencil, but obviously not. These are absolutely brilliant. So yeah, this seller on Etsy, who was selling them a lot cheaper than anywhere else, they're also selling the smaller sets as well. I think they're selling I know that they're selling the 80 sets, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're selling the smaller sets than that. But they also sell the Supra colour, the Caran DAche Supra colour as well. So that price as well was actually including shipping. So on the other hand, when they actually arrive in the country, I might get charged import fees. so that could knock the price back up again, but I don't think it'll knock it up to the same price as the Amazon price. So these greens are not feeling scratchy at all now. When I swatched them out, the greens did kind of scratch the paper a little bit, but it must have just been because it was new, because it hasn't done that since. Yeah, I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on now, and that is not going to break that point. It's just really strong. Okay, so I only got this far, and then I haven't coloured anything for a few days because I've just been too busy, so I didn't have time. But in that time, the large set has finally arrived, so it took about a week to come. I wasn't charged any import duties, thankfully, but when I've looked on Amazon now, the price is a lot less. There's some for, I think, 235 and some for 225. No, so this one, like I said, was 200 on Etsy. Now I could have swore when I first looked at them they were 275. So I don't know if I know prices do fluctuate, but not usually by that much, that I've noticed. But yeah, I'm sure it was 275. I'm sure it was. Anyhow, I still feel like I've got a bargain, so I'm really pleased. So I'm going to have a look at these and look for some nice skin colours. I'm not going to swatch them out because it'll take me ages, and I want to get on with this picture. So they're absolutely beautiful, they look amazing. They've got a tin holder, and there's 3 trays, so that's the second tray with all the yellows and the earthy colours, and then that's the third tray, starting with cold blue and then all the greens, and then we've got some brown colours here, but there's also brown colours here. So it's oddly laid out. It's very different from the Polychromos and the Prismacolor. Some really, really light colours. That is such a light pink. That looks nice. Just look amazing. These beautiful turquoise colours. Okay, so I'm just gonna look for some fleshy colours. So she's very, very pale in this picture here, and she's got like some pink bits on the knees and the cheek. I've just got this, by the way. Has anybody seen these cute little desk hoovers? They're so cute. Got little brushes on the bottom, and you just switch it on. The work absolutely brilliant, hoovering all the little pieces up, especially when you've just been sharpening, because I always get loads of dust over the table. So I've got these colours. I've got a really light cream. I've got this kind of light fleshy colour called apricot. I've got this one called raspberry red. That's to add a little bit of red to her cheeks and her knees. And then I've got this one which is brownish orange, just to add little bits of shadow areas. So I hope I've picked the right colours, but I don't have them swatched out, so I don't really know what they look like. I'm just going by what they look like on the end. It's only a tiny little picture to copy off, but I'll try my best. So I'm just adding some of this pinky colour to her knees, just as an undertone. I'm just kind of practicing. I don't really know if this is going to work out. But then I'll go over the top with the other colours. Okay, so now I'm just gonna try and smooth it all out with this cream colour. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that actually. I mean, it's a completely different look from like the Prismacolor pencils. You can see that it's coloured pencil, but I like it. I think it looks really nice. So I think these are just such a pleasure to use. They're so satisfying to use. I think the only drawbacks that I can think of are you can kind of see white flecks in the paper if you look at the sunflower, and like here, if you press really hard you can get rid of that, but if you don't want to press really hard, what I was thinking of is the maybe work brilliant in combination with the Neo Colour 2. So putting a base coat down just to completely cover all the little white flecks, and then use these for the detailing. So I think that's what I'll try out. I mean, it all depends on whether the Neo Colour 2 fills in the tooth of the page first, because that does sometimes happen with watercolour pencils, and then you use pencils over the top. Sometimes the tooth of the paper is ruined with the coloured pencil, with the watercolour pencil, but maybe with these being such a high quality, that might not do that. So that's what I'm going to try next. And then the other thing was, when you do press really hard to get rid of those little white flecks, there's a glare left, so you get like this, a real shine to it when the light hits it, which is a little bit annoying as well. Them's the only two drawbacks, but I still absolutely adore these pencils. Yeah, I think the arms turned out much better now that I've had a little practice with the other limbs. The arms turned out a lot better. I'll just put the shadow in. Okay, so now for the dress. She's got this lovely blue dress on, but it's actually got lots of little flowers on it that you can barely see, and they're not on the picture, so I'm going to have to draw those on myself. Okay, so I started off by adding some little shadows, first of all with a grey colour. I just copied those shadows off the picture, and now I'm colouring the dress blue, and then I'll go with a lighter blue to add some highlighted parts. I'm just going to build it up in layers, so I'm just carefully going around these little flowers. I'm just explaining what I'm doing, because I always get comments, people asking me to explain what I'm doing, so just in case anybody's following along. So there's little white flowers on this dress as well, but I will add those at the end. So hopefully this light blue will finish it off nicely, and it's kind of altering the colour a little bit as well, which is good. I mean, how amazing is that blue? It's so light. I'm just going to add a little bit of this Bleed Proof White by Dr. P.H. Martin, and I'm just going to dab the little white flowers on. So this weird looking dotting tool that I'm using, I haven't got a clue what it is. I get so many questions about it. So many people have asked me, what is that tool? Where did you get it? And I don't know. I've had it for so long. I think I bought it years ago when I was doing some nail art, and I bought all sorts of nail art accessories, and I'm sure this must have been one of the things that I bought, and I just really don't know what it's called, unfortunately. Okay, so a couple of other things I'm going to mention is here I'm using a blending pencil, and that works really, really well with these pencils. And then I also, a little bit later on when I'm colouring the dog, I go over it with a blending pen. Now I got some from Darwin, a pack of 2 blending pens, and I've never used them before, and people have recommended them to me, and I've always been going to get them and I never have. So I finally got them and tried them with this, and as you'll be able to see when I'm colouring the dog and I go over it with the blending pen, it works really well. Yeah, so that's just another thing to mention as well, that those little white flecks can easily be filled in with either using maybe Neocolour 2 or watercolour pencils first, or using a blending pencil or a blending pen, or possibly some mineral spirits. But it's just a tiny little problem with the pencils. But other than that, they're pretty perfect. I just absolutely love them. Okay, so I've nearly finished now, so I'll just leave you with a little bit of music and the rest of the footage. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and thanks very much for watching.